Shalom. The desire of our foreparents is shown in our national motto, which says, one people, one nation, one destiny. The concept of one speaks of unity and togetherness in every area of our lives in this nation. In the Word of God, we read in the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verses 2 and 3. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. This verse encourages us that we can have unity through peace. Guyana, united we stand, divided we fall. We will not fall. Welcome to Choices. God bless you.
Last week we started the conversation where we examined the importance of unity, and we actually attached that to our own country, taking into consideration where we want to go as a nation right now in terms of all our resources. And we mentioned the importance of all the people of this land coming together for one purpose, and that is to see Guyana prosper. We actually looked at Psalms 133, which talks about, which says, behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And we really looked at two important words there, good and pleasant. And so we believe that as a nation, we can and we will be able to enjoy the benefits of our resources, even as we come together as a people. But this dwelling, in our view, requires a focus on certain, requires us to focus on certain words, or what we would like to call watchwords. There could not be no unity unless there is love. You know, the scripture is very clear. Love covers a multitude of sins, and so, you know, when we love one another as a people, we will look beyond our faults and actually try to come together regardless of the situation. And we talked about integrity, wholeness of heart, or a singleness of heart. So integrity is also critical to the process, because as a person of integrity, you develop trust, because the one who has integrity is consistent with his behavior or with her behavior and attitudes, and therefore people they develop a trust for you. And then there's this whole thing about reconciliation. There must be a place for forgiveness. There must be a place where one will relent, notwithstanding who you think might offend you or what they might do to you. You can't live your life all the time walking around with people on your minds, and therefore that cannot be progressive, and therefore reconciliation is important. Next, the whole notion of recognition that each person has worth, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their race, social class, or standing. Persons have worth. Could you imagine as a people, when we recognize, look, every man in this country has worth, and therefore we need to tap into that. And then lastly for now, a selfless attitude, one who is selfless, not selfish. And these are some key watchwords if we are going to be united as a people in this land. Gentlemen.
You know, you mentioned a key word, reconciliation, to reconcile, to reach out. And Pastor Singh in his introduction spoke about what our foreparents, our ancestors perceive or conceive in their mind of this nation. He spoke about the motto, one people, one nation, one destiny. I think last week also we looked at Hezekiah, King Hezekiah, in his attempt to reconcile, bring the nation of Israel together, children Israel. And I think before we talk about when the threat is external, we can focus, but when it's internal, it requires a reaching out, so to reconcile. And as we examine 2 Chronicles chapter 30, Hezekiah is making an effort here to bring people together, and he focused on the commonality that they had in observing the feast of the Passover, which took them back to the fact that they were people, had to do with the fact that God. God was the center of their existence, of their worship. And I think for us here as a nation in Guyana, if we can focus, set aside our differences and focus on who we are because of who God is, I think it will go far way in reconciling us with the people.
I like how you use Ezekiel because I see him more than just a king. I also see him in the light of a strong father figure. And I think that has become more vivid to me coming out of our recent men's conference, where we not only celebrated men, but we attempted to instruct and to guide. I want to quote a few comments, at least 3 of them now, that was made by our premier speaker, Dr. Messiah, and put it in the context of what we're talking about. He said, if you are a competitor, you're not a father. And I thought that if you're going to lead people, nation, you need a heart of a father. And you also need to remove yourself from the old concept of a competitor. Your children are not your rival, for example. The people around you are not your rival. Because you need this kind of unity. If you think the concept of a competitor, clearly you see yourself as enemy and foe. And clearly you're going to have the kind of destructions around. He made the observation that the father is really an architect. So he's a builder. He sees things. As a matter of fact, I remember one time he even made the observation that he will dream and the children will fulfill the dream. I thought this was amazing, fascinating. But in the concept of unity, that old idea of a father figure, he made this last one I'll quote. He says that he's consistent in what he does. And so, as we attempt to find unity, somebody has to lead the way. And I want to call on the fathers to start leading the way, coming together. And let us recognize that we are not fighting against each other. We're working together for one common cause.
The psalmist, dealing with how good and how pleasant, but unity is the end product, the goal. But to me, the issue is really who would do this? Who would come together? It's easy for a family to come together, friends to come together. But the concept of brethren is deeper. It moves from blood, from ethnicity, to include everybody. And that is where we have the challenge. How do you come together in spite of your differences? Now, we are speaking about this in the context of Guyana, trying to see how we can apply these words in Psalm 133. It's a challenge because our history is one of division, brokenness, pain, and every now and again, especially our political types, they are duty bound, they feel, to remind us of our brokenness, to remind us of who did what, who said what, and all of those things keep going back in that direction. If your goal is unity, we have to use different strategies. The list, those elements given earlier on by Dr. Hudson in terms of being patient, we started with quotation of Ephesians, talking about humility and patience, and then we added to that love, and we added a whole integrity and a whole host of other critical elements. Those are easily achieved in their bloodline. The challenge is, we're not developing a family business. It's a national business where all of us have to come together, and it will take an exceptional leader to achieve this. And we know that in order to achieve this, we need help from, as Einstein help from above. We need help from outside of this world. And that's why we are challenging us. It is quite possible for us as countrymen, whether you're from the Quarantine or Timbuktu, or you're from Linden and Rosignol, we need to come together.
You know, Dr. Messiah, you did something that was really beneficial for the nation from Wednesday through Friday as you presented at our men's conference. Your leadership, the information that you brought to men, not only in the Wortmanville area, but it reached as far as you said, you heard men and women commenting on your presentations on the nights that we had our men's
Quarantine to Kenya.
Quarantine to Kenya. Now, we know that brethren and the other people have been listening and participating in our men's conference communication. It will bring together a unity. It will cause men to understand because of what you said to us about who a father is, how a father operates, and the things that a man should do. You educated men for the last 3 days of last week.
Well,
We
we're
wanna say
talking about
thanks.
men, we're talking about fathers. I want to start to acknowledge a great man, a great father in our midst who is celebrating his birthday. We're talking about Brother Cornell Millington, a very distinguished, yes, 70 years old.
Yes.
He has served this country well with distinction. He loves Jesus and he is leading his family well.
Good job, Millie.
Thank you, sir.
Stay in the middle.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can make
Once
the walk
I
from
come.
Yam Street there.
Already set the sail, sir.
Yes, set the sail.
Set the sail.
I want to get back to what Pastor Shea was alluding to, because what we saw there is the evidence of a visionary. This visionary, his eyesight, what he saw, was not just limited to his local congregation. And that is what we need as we look to bring our people together in this country. To me, I ask myself the question, does our leaders have an understanding of what it is we need as a people to bring us together? We are divided along so many lines. You know, Pastor Lee made reference to King Hezekiah and the commonality that he used, the people had, to bring them together. We need to understand what it is we need as a nation to bring our people together.
You know, you talk about vision, and I believe vision sometimes it goes beyond your term, it goes beyond your generation,
Your life.
your life.
Yes, sir.
And so, as we examine our nation, we have to stop building and breaking. Building and breaking. We have to come to that place where we come to a level of maturity where one will build and one will continue, the other will continue to build. And as we work together, we will be able to flesh out the vision and work it to its maturity, to its realization, and the nation will benefit as a whole.
We looked the other day when we were in Israel. The old Jerusalem, the old city, preserved in an ultra-modern context. It looks as though it doesn't fit. When you look at what's happening in New Jerusalem with all the tremendous structural and architectural development, super cranes, and they're putting up these high-rise structures. Then you go to the old city, side by side, modernity existing with antiquity, side by side. And in 71 years, I think it's about that, they have been able to move, to advance such a rapid pace. Now, you touched on some very powerful things, keys like building and breaking. We have to develop a mindset like that, where we build and we build and we build and we build. We have to really come to a place where we stop this kind of this antagonism between our peoples, and we must be focused. I am going to build. Remember we had a song like that?
Yeah.
And each succeeding leader would build on the work of his predecessor.
That's nationhood, standing on the shoulders
Yeah.
of your predecessors and working together. You grow, you enlarge, you do what you have to do, and a nation will benefit. You have to
Well,
see
since-
the magnitude.
Since last week I was telling Pastor, coming from 2nd Chronicles, when you raised that scripture, I saw something that I had never seen before. It has influenced my prayer. I used to pray for God bless our leaders, God help us. But I never prayed for a singleness of heart to be given to the people of Guyana and to the leadership of Guyana. Because what we're describing requires a singleness of heart. A love that is a love for country that is above a love for party. A love for country that is above a love for my friends. A love for country that is above my love for my associate. It's a singleness of heart that requires the development that is necessary for the development of the country. And so I go back to what Dr. Lee said and Dr. Hudson said. The need for God, because I think it's only God can give you that wish, that singleness of heart. And so I want to encourage us to pray, asking God to get that singleness of heart. Because with that singleness of heart, I think what we're describing becomes more possible of building upon what the other has done.
Dr. Lee, you spoke about Hezekiah. He was sending out a lot of letters to
Messengers.
Yes. But you know that they had persons or that did not really attend.
The people didn't come, some didn't come.
Good.
That's correct.
So when I look at that, I look at what's going on in this country here also. And as persons say, sometimes it's only the Lord have to come to things to run right. Bishop, the Palestinians and the Israelis, you ever think that they would ever come together? Jesus have to come, sir. And see,
Well, I mean, it's a big question, and
Yeah.
we're trying to resolve one that we can resolve. That one we'll spend so many other programs trying to resolve that. Unlike your reference to 2nd Chronicles 30 and 12, also the hand of God was on Judah to give them singleness of heart. To do what? To obey the command. To obey the command of the king and the leaders and the word of God. I agree, like the question you just asked. It is possible if people have a singleness of heart. Nothing can hold them back, You remember the Tower of Babel?
Yes,
Those
sir.
people have a singleness of heart. And they were building, long before super cranes, they were building. They had a singleness of heart. God had to come and touch. And touch. We need a singleness of heart that has been certified by Him. And people talking about oil money. We heard over the weekend that covenant capital is greater than oil capital. If we could come into, my experiences by and large across this country, they've been very positive. I've had been invited into homes, and the religions are very different. But Guyanese basically are of peace, loving,
Yes.
friendly,
Yes.
hospitality.
Yes.
That's who we are.
Yes.
We
I
don't
agree.
ask before you come in house whether you want or not. I watch children come into my home and they lie down and studying. And I was amazed when I noticed the difference when I went outside to ask their parents, would you like to come in for a cup of tea? The parents parking their vehicles on the outside, different religions and so on. But their children have crossed that barrier. And we need to allow these children to grow and become what they need to become. And I believe in the next generation, if we don't poison them, the next generation can break through and make this nation, position this nation for rapid growth and development.
Bishop, you see, I've listened to both you and Reverend Stanley talk at length about this singleness of heart. And you've mentioned you hope that the children, we don't poison the children. I was reflecting on the words written by, there's a gentleman called Cleveland Hamilton. I think he might have been from my mom's village at Myconia. I could be wrong with that. But he wrote a national song. We know the song. It's called the Song of the Republic, but we probably don't really know it by that name. But there's a one that starts with, "From Pakarama speaks of power." And we're very familiar with the first verse, more than the other two. But I want to share with the nation the second verse, because it's in line with what we've been talking about. "We'll forge a nation's mighty soul, construct a nation's frame. Freedom, our everlasting goal. Courage and truth, our aim. Unyielding in our quest for peace, like ancient heroes brave. To strive and never cease, with strength beyond the slave. Guyana, climb the glorious perch to fame, prosperity. Join in the universal search for a worldwide comity. Your people, whatsoever their breed, their hue or quality, with one firm, never changing creed, the nation's unity." Those words were written way, I think it's probably about 50 years ago, because I think somebody might have mentioned to me that this might have been one of the songs that was in line for to be our national anthem. I could be wrong with that, but it's written about 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, it shows that we've had this dream for about 5 decades. We certainly see ourselves at the moment climbing this perch to fame and prosperity, but we are still struggling for that elusive unity.
One of the things that that we need to do, and I like how we reflect, and we've been hearing this conversation for a long time, for many years, since I was a little boy, and hearing about unity and how we should really go about uniting. But I think what is lacking is a comprehensive strategy, and central to that strategy, it has to be God, or else we will talk. And I think we need to have our leaders, they need to sit and to craft out a strategy, and it cannot be done without the intervention of God. And I think that
We need the hand of God.
I think we heard that
Yeah.
kept coming forth all the time. But the time has come when, and God has to direct this, you know. We could have desires, but if God is not key and central, our talks will just go into thin air. And I believe that the time has come when the leaders must emerge. And this can't be a one-man thing. It has to be a set of people where they will be buying, because you have people from different factions who have impact and influence. And so a single man might come, unless he is the hand of God moving, he will not make the influence that he needs. But you have another man that you could say, here, come, let's talk. Once you connect to that man, he has influence over a vast amount of people. And so if he is changed, he may have the ability to impact change, but there must be a strategy. People have to sit down and they have to talk and they have to be genuine. I say that word again, genuine. I think sometimes what we lack as we look around in our society is genuine leadership, and that's where we need to go.
I know you're so correct, you know that, because in Hezekiah's time, he wasn't the king of all the tribes of Israel, you know, but like you said, you know, there are factions that are controlled by different leadership in this land. But Hezekiah, he reached out to everybody. So leadership is critical. Given the direction from God, I think it's possible. But we have to, leaders have to reach out, not only just to your kith and kin, but to everybody in this nation.
I pray that our leaders therefore will get a father's heart. And I'll say this right, this is the reason why I say this. Because if you have a father's heart, a responsible father's heart, I heard Dr. Messiah said this at the conference. A responsible father develops a heart of compassion. And you will start feeling not only for yourself, but also feel for the people around you.
Amen.
So I pray our leaders will develop in such a manner.
Historically, Israel, what you touched on in that national song there is so profound. And I wish that our children can sing it, memorize it, and the adults will really be able to join in. But when you look at Israel, they had a historical problem, interpersonal division, interpersonal conflict. They've come a long way. We are entering into a Christian church, and the ambience in the background is the call to prayer that is Islamic. It's not a quiet call to prayer, and the two are coexisting. Nobody's stopping to say turn that down and talking about the decibels that are unbearable. They have found a way. They have found a way to live together. We have to find a way.
Amen.
And I agree with what was posited earlier. We need the hand of God. In this equation for development and growth in Guyana, the hand of God must be a factor. We can't just develop a strategy outside of this. We just can't say, well, okay, the solution would be purely economics. In the midst of all of writing this equation that will provide the solution for unity and growth and prosperity, those who are writing, those leaders who have this charge, they must recognize the importance of inviting the hand of God. Guyana, beautiful nation. May we continue to explore the benefits of working together. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
We thank you for joining us on Choices today. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly, LNP Durban Street, Workmanville, Georgetown, Guyana, for any of our special services. I'm Celacia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.